Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Question, how many of you guys have had a divorce or just a breakup where down the line that woman regrets the decision and she actively demonstrates and shows to you that she's trying to get you to come back to her? This topic today is inspired by one woman's story of divorce. Honestly, if one more couple gets divorced because of the reasons why she got divorced, that is too many. Okay, I'll be honest guys, this might sound bad, but this is like a feel-good video for you guys that have just been through it with either a divorce or a breakup where you feel like you have been completely wronged. This is a true example of, even if you've gone through that and you've taken the high road, you haven't really forced any kind of consequence on your other partner. You know, you've just stepped back and you let life happen. Well, guess what? Karma can come back. Eventually, karma does, right? And this is a story where a woman ends up getting a divorce and she later regrets it because karma. It really compounds when men prior to divorce are doing all the right things, right? Like, he's a good man. He is a provider. He literally doesn't do anything to cause his woman to want to have divorce. That is this story. So if you guys are ready for it, let's start to listen to it. I'm probably going to cut in with my opinion. We'll see how long I last. Oh, and before I hit play, please guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button to catch my videos every Friday. Okay, let's watch the video.
So recently I caught up with an old friend and she was telling me that she got divorced. And I was so surprised because her and her husband were such a cute couple and they had been together for 11 years. So I asked her, like, what happened? I figured something bad happened. She's like, honestly, I was just bored. Like, my husband, all he did was work. I was a stay-at-home mom. We had 3 kids and I just got lonely and bored. And she says that when she would bring it up, like, he would take her out, but it was just boring to her. Like, she needed some excitement in her life. She just felt like she was just a mom and a wife, and her husband just wasn't doing that for her. And she had other friends that had, you know, boyfriends, or like they had just got married and they were always going out, always going on vacation, always partying, like going to the club, going to the bar, hanging out with friends, and they did none of that. And when she would bring it up to her husband would always tell her, like, I gotta work. Like, you know, they had a big house, they had nice things. Like, he was just trying to work. So they ended up getting divorced. And now, you know, she's single, she lives alone, she's working, and she's dating. So then I told her, oh, well, that must be exciting, like dating and stuff. And she's like, no, I hate it. And I was like, why? And she's like, because all they want to do is just have fun. They just want to go to the club. They just want to go to the bar. They just want to hang out, have a good time, and then that's it. She said, no one wants to help me out. Like, I'm trying to find someone that's going to help take care of my kids. She's like, I just want someone to be a provider, not just a good time.
She's already getting into the problems that her friend is facing in the dating world. And this is something that a lot of women don't realize, especially when they get married at a fairly young age. I mean, anytime in your 20s. What women don't understand is that that is a woman's prime. Okay, if you start dating into your 30s or 40s or 50s, you are not going to be valued in the same way. And I know that that triggers a lot of women, but it is the truth. A lot of men are not looking to date you if you're in that higher age bracket. And of course, it varies a little bit based on his age, but in general, like the 20s, like you're going to have a huge dating pool. You're all kind of looking to date somebody that doesn't have a lot of baggage, and none of you really do have baggage. Like, all of that changes as you get older, and you're most attractive, most likely, as a woman when you're in your 20s. Men oftentimes become more attractive, or they kind of like stay the same through 20s, 30s, 40s. That is the reality. And unfortunately, this woman being married was hanging out with single friends that were obviously not a good influence, and they were either exaggerating their singlehood and their single experience, or maybe they're younger. Maybe they are in their 20s and they're having a blast. Well, that's not going to be the same thing for you, lady, especially when you have 2 children that you share with another man. Let's listen to the rest of the video.
She's like, I just want someone to be a provider, not just a good time. So I was all like, well, wasn't that what your husband was doing? And she's like, I know.
This is going to turn into a prime example of the 90-10 theory. I know I've talked about it before, guys, but in case you haven't heard about this, it's where a woman can have 90% of what she wants in a man with the man that she's with currently. But it's that 10% that he's lacking that she becomes hyper focused on. And then all of a sudden, she's not happy if he doesn't provide that 10%. And instead of addressing that and either one, recognizing that she already has 90%, like she should be happy, let's just work through that lack of 10%. Or she could actually have a real conversation with him and maybe he's willing to give into that 10%. And it sounds like in this story, he was willing to give into that a little bit, right? He was willing to provide her a little bit more. But okay, maybe it wasn't to the extent that she wanted, but that is marriage. You have to be able to compromise. And again, she needs to recognize that that 90% is there with him. Unfortunately, a lot of women realize it too late, right? And that's what the story is getting into, because she is seeking men that actually have that 90% that her husband already had. And she's starting to realize that that 10% that was lacking in her ex-husband, you know, she's finding it in other men, but whoops, they actually don't have that other 90%. And she's starting to realize that. So let's see what happens.
And I guess now her ex-husband is dating someone, like seriously. They have been divorced for a total of 3 years, and he has been dating this girl for 2 years. She has 2 kids, and they're already living together.
I am not surprised. That good man that is willing to be a provider, that is a hard worker, found a woman within a year after the divorce. And guess what? I bet you anything that she appreciates him. And here she is with kids of her own, and she gets to be a stay-at-home wife because of him. I'm pretty sure I know where this is going.
She says that he's fully taking care of her. Like, the girl doesn't work. She's a stay-at-home mom. They haven't had any new kids, but they're planning on having kids. And she's pissed because she's like, how can he move on so fast? Like, you know, I can't even find nobody, and he just found someone so quick.
It's clear as day. It's because she was the problem. She was the actual problem in that marriage, and he wasn't. No one's perfect. I'm not saying that that man was perfect in any way, but he was able to get into a relationship that seems steady. It's probably healthy, and she is starting to see that, and she is starting to become jealous, and she's blaming him, or she's just blaming the world, right? She's still the victim here because she just doesn't understand why he would choose to have somebody in his life that has her own kids and why he would want to support them. And she doesn't understand why she doesn't have somebody in her life.
And he didn't even want to give us another try.
Oh, he didn't want to give her another try after she was the one that wanted to divorce him after he had provided everything that he had. Oh, this is wild. And after she probably dated like 10 other guys before he even found the one woman that he's now in love with, most likely. This is wild. This is why this type of woman will not take accountability, maybe ever. Hopefully she will, for the sake of their kids that they share and their co-parenting relationship. Hopefully she will get to the point a few years more where she recognizes that she was the problem, right? And then maybe she has hope for some sort of relationship for herself down the line, because I don't think you ever really end the cycle of being the victim and having somebody else that you're with having to pretty much maintain a fix within you. It's going to be short term. No other partner, no other person can take on that role and be able to like maintain that fix within you. Like, you're going to end up having short-term relationships until you really fix yourself. But the first thing that requires is to take accountability.
Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was so confused because I was like, okay, so you divorced him because he was always working and you were bored. So now you're single, going out, having a good time, dating, but you don't like that. Now you want someone to take care of you, a provider. And your ex-husband, all he wanted to do was be a provider. That's why now he is dating someone who he has no problem providing for her and her kids. And she's pissed because she's like, why would he go and find someone who has kids? Like, he already has kids. Why would he want to take on that responsibility? And I'm like, wait, aren't you looking for someone to take on that responsibility? I was just giving her a hard time, not gonna lie, because it was kind of funny to me, because I was like, I could tell that she regretted her decision. I could tell.
All I have to say is good for that man, right? He is going to end up happy in the long run. I don't know about you guys, but if any of you have gone through something similar to this is honestly a little bit of a feel-good moment, because you don't wish anything terrible on somebody that has, maybe done this to you, has broken your heart, has used you. You usually will take the higher road, but you know that there's karma out there. And I really am a believer that as long as you take the high road and you don't truly wish ill will on anyone, that it will eventually come back on them, because they're going to continue to be the same person. You don't have to put an effort to change them. You don't have to show them their wrongs. You just have to step back and let God or the universe, whatever you believe in, do their job. And this is a prime example, because she is still not seeing the light. And unfortunately, especially with sharing children and having the thoughts that she's already placing on the other woman that's in her ex-husband's life, she's probably going to be problematic. She's going to be a problematic co-parent. She's probably going to continue to be jealous of that woman. She's going to be jealous of them thriving. Unfortunately, that is what I have seen. If you guys have gone through this experience, anything similar, or you've seen a friend go through this experience, I would be interested in hearing your comments down below. I've had a lot of feedback on the shorts video that I already did. I can give you loads of stories. If you guys are interested in hearing those, also let me know, and I could do a quick video on that.